Shalom, 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 shalom. How you doing? Huh? Nubian King back again. Some more dialogue for you. We at this is the morning of day 19 of this situation here, Israel, Hamas, Palestine, what have you. This war they got going on that is packed full of controversy, information, so much, so much. Um, I guess I just wanted to talk with you today, share some thoughts with you. Um, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. This is day 19. 50 years ago today um, was the Yom Kippur War. You know, you've heard 6 Day War, Yom Kippur War, what have you. Well, it lasted 19 days. All right. 50 years ago, this would have been the end of it. But we not at the end of this thing here. And looks like we just getting into the thick of the beginning, you know. Um, I'm all right. You know, I got two children out there. My youngest son and my youngest daughter. They're serving right now. Check on them every day, you know. I have to leave my phone on doing these recording because they call me, I get updates. So if it happened to ring while I'm talking, just you know, excuse me. Um, you've probably heard old men start wars, young men and women fight. As a parent with children in military that are actively at war, that really, really takes another kind of it gets your attention on another level because as a parent to have to hug your child and give them words of encouragement and look them in the eye as they stand there in their uniform and you hug your children and they don't never stop being your baby. They could be 30 years old. It's my baby. It's my child. And having to watch them turn around and walk out that door in that uniform just want to see them again, you know. As a parent, that's a lot to carry. It's like you in service too. And you know, as the parent of those children, we had control of the situation. We would definitely find other ways to come to agreement or solution than to have to send them babies out the door to fight like that. Most definitely would, you know. If you don't have children, then don't think and don't pretend and don't try to act like you know and you understand because you don't. You can hear parents say certain things you might not agree with because you haven't went through the life of a parent. You've watched it or probably got a sister, brother, cousin, or friends with children. But it's a whole different kind of energy when it's your babies. And you watch the news reports, everything. Now all of them became real. It's another kind of way for you now. Yeah, that was a time where you run into people. I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news. All that stuff. it just stresses you out and just keep you all crazy, da 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 da. But when you got your child out there, you watch, you keep up because you want to know. I check on mine every day, sometimes twice a day. You know, may not know exactly where they at, but as long as I know that the one that told me they all right, talk with them today, they can help me make it through another day. Because they don't never stop being your babies. 6-Day War, 50 years ago, ended in 19 days. That means this is the day, the morning of the 19th day of this situation. And it ain't nowhere near the end. Matter of fact, America got Netanyahu to hold up on the ground invasion, so America could get more weapons and equipment and personnel in the region. You know, and read this article today that those people from those border communities of Gaza, Zikim and Beirut, what have you, Gaza, they was told by the government they need to be ready to stay away from their homes for up to a year. And as I told you before, my Israeli brother, they living in a hotel at the Dead Sea down there that you all know of. And it's ain't gonna be 19 days on this one. Yeah. This is gonna be different. We seeing a lot of different, you know, news reports. People on one side and the other, pro-Israel, pro-Palestine. And I'm watching so much fighting against each other. You know, if you pro-Palestine, you anti-Israel. If you pro-Israel, you anti-Palestine. And man, you know, I like to look at the situation from a portrait because a portrait is bigger than a picture, right? When you look at a picture, you see the image, you see the picture, what have you. But when you're looking at the image from a portrait, what's the difference? You get to see more by looking at the portrait. And so I like this, and I like to step back, you understand, and look at a portrait, get to see more. And in me observing what's taking place, not from an emotional point, but from a calm and collective individual with a lot of history and understanding about Israel, Palestine, having lived here over 42 years. I know people from all those different places, Israel, Palestine, been in and out of all of their homes. You know, I've been in the Palestinian homes, been in the Israelis' home, been in the Russian home, the Chinese, everywhere, all of them, you know. And it's just a sad state of affairs that I see people getting at each other. You know, people that are fighting each other, man. I mean, they going to blows. And I just look and shake my head because last month everything was just rolling along, you know. And then one day it all changed in the twinkling of an eye. And here you got all these people fighting each other in the streets and in the schools and everywhere, going at it. And they saw a situation that took place somewhere in the world the majority of them have never been to. And it took place with people that none of them knows. But what did it cause them to do? Click to anger and start going at anybody. If you pro-Palestine, you was looking for Israeli. You were looking for Jews. If you were pro-Israeli, pro-Jews, you was looking for Arabs and Palestinians. And y'all just going at each other. Not even thinking to yourself, wait, hold it. What's really going on? Why? And that's where I'm at. That's exactly where I'm at. What's really going on? You know, I have some men that I sit with, talk to, pass information, counsel with. It's like the council of elders. These brothers is sharp. You know, yeah, I know some stuff too, but I always keep my ears open because I know every time I get in a group of these men, we gonna get some, you know what I'm saying, some knowledge. Because amongst us, we like to talk and share information so that, you know, everybody in our little, you know, group, you know, be on the same page. So for as information of what happening. So periodically we'll get together and discuss, you know, current affairs, world events. And I enjoy it because it enlightens me to different things because, you know, what it says in a multitude of counsel is great wisdom. And what is wisdom? Wisdom is what? The correct use of knowledge, information. You know, so you got some knowledge, you got some information, and you use it correctly, then you become what? Wise. Now let me break it down so I don't shoot over nobody's head. You got a baby, and the baby like to put their finger crawling around. They like to put their finger in the electrical socket down there on the floor. And you tell the baby, stop, don't do that. So the baby, baby, I mean, they like, what? So somehow or another, this little joker ends up with a bobby pin. Don't know how. And you done told him, don't put his finger in the electrical socket for whatever reason. He sticks that bobby pin in that. It's a little piece of metal he got. He put that piece of metal in the electrical socket. Pow! He gets shocked. Blow back on his pamper smoking. Guess what? Now he has the knowledge that is hurt. And so what does he use with that newfound sudden knowledge? The correct use of knowledge does what? Cause him not to do that again. So because now he know with his knowledge, don't put your finger in the electrical socket, he become wise now. And he don't do it anymore. Correct use of knowledge. So here we are in this unique situation where so many people are either pro-Israel or pro-Palestine, and they all going at each other. And man, if I could have a micro loudspeaker to just say, stop and think. You look around the world, it's just chaos all over the place. This is happening, that would happen. I just saw a shooting to take place again in America. All this is happening, just drama, terror, fighting, war, woo, fear, strife. Hold up. Wait a minute. I don't believe that this thing just happened. All these events are just happening out of just poof, a vacuum, like, you walk around one day and it just happened. Uh, I don't buy into that. Like, you know, it just happened. Pull up something for you. One of the wise brothers I was sitting with last night showed us. Let me see. Let me see. I'm pulling this up right now. Uh, okay. And I want to go here. It's information. Information is good for you to know. So as you see things take place, it won't just blow your head away. Okay. Now I got what I'm looking for, but this is it. Okay, this is a guy named Albert Pike, and he talks about the three world wars. This business is deep. You want to hear it? Okay. In this letter he wrote many years ago, and he talked about the First World War, the Second World War, and the Third World War. It's said to be the last. Listen to this. In his letter, Albert Pike wrote about the three world wars. The First World War. This war was to be battled out so as to enable the Illuminati to overthrow the powers of the Khazars in Russia, and in turn turn Russia into a strong fortress of atheistic communism. The difference stirred by the agents of the Illuminati between German and British Empire were to be used to foment this First World War, which, as we know, is already taking place. Then, when the war has ended, communism was to be built up and used to destroy other governments and to weaken regions. And it showed this happened, it was World War One. Ooh. So the war was really planned. Yes. You see? See, these war was planned, people. Bear with me now, because you really would do well to know that these things that we see taking place, they just not like poof, one day it happened. It happened because it was planned to happen for a reason, an outcome, an objective. Now, the First World War, it must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the powers of the Khazars and the Russian, and making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergence caused by the agentur of the agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic Empire will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken regions. You see, he's not talking in a metaphysical, uh, esoteric, philosophical meaning. He's talking in a definite, this is the plan. And you see in his statement, the First World War must be brought about in order. You know what I'm saying? That's a fact. That's not esoteric and he pulling something out the clouds. And the same way they start the Second World War, it says the Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. Ah, this is the Second World War. And I'm reading from the letter of Albert Pike. Okay. Albert Pike, he was born in 1809. and he died in 1891. He became a member of the secessionist movement, and also he was chosen by Mazzini to head the Illuminati, which is a secret society operation in America. He was then moved to Charleston, South Carolina, in 1852. And he's said to have been made a brigadier general and placed in charge of raising an Indian army during the time of war. So uh, you can tell the short history of this guy. So what? You see, Freemasonry is a deceived society into thinking that Lucifer is God and that he is the good one. But not going into that, what I want you to know is about these planned wars. And let's go. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the difference between the fascists and the political Zionists. Zionists. We hear that. We hear the word Zionist. What you think about Israel? Now, this war, we're talking about the Second World War, must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel and Palestine. A sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would then, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we were needed for a final social cataclysm. You hear this? We're talking about the Second World War. Albert Pike said must be formed. All right. So World War II was also planned. You know what? Maybe the conspiracy theorists might be right on this one. You know, when they say all these wars is planned. All right. That was the Second World War. Got past that one. Now what we talking about here? Dun, 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 dun. The Third World War. It is said to be the last. Well, let's get into it because this is where we at right now. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. Whoa. And let me slow down because this is right where we at. You see what I'm saying about information and stepping back and not being packed full of emotion and not making decisions based on emotion, but don't be emotional and you can continue to think when you're not emotional. And when you done studied and got your information together and you got your facts together, then when you see certain things taking place, you won't be just overwhelmed at what you see these certain things taking place. So the Third World War, it must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused. You hear what I'm saying? See, these people, they don't do anything out of a vacuum and haphazardly, like, you know, you throw it up in the sky and hope you can grab something. These heathen literally plan these events and they execute these events on the world population, and the world population always does what? React. And if you're in a position of reacting, you're not in a position of power because you're looking, you're seeing what's taking place, and it's coming at you, and you got to scramble to avoid it and try to protect yourself and protect your family. So you're not in a position of power because you run around trying to grab a flashlight, get some dry good, buy some toilet paper, stock up on canned good, because you're reacting to something that's taking place that's coming your way that they have created. The Third World War. It must be fomented by taking advantage of the difference between the agents of the Illuminati, between the political Zionists, and the leaders of the Islamic world. Let's say it another way so that you can be absolutely beyond the shadow of a doubt crystal clear. The third world war must be fomented by taking advantage of the difference between the Palestinian and the Israelis. Zionism, Israelis, leaders of the Islamic world, Palestinians. So there you go. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, Arab, Palestinian, the Muslim Arab world, and the political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Bam. You see that? Come on now. You see what I'm saying about being emotional? And you look at this thing and something supposed to tell you, like, wait a minute. I mean, like, just one day we was just Saturday, like me. All right. So Saturday night, I was watching movies late. Dang, 4 something in the morning. And I said, okay, tomorrow is Shabbat, Saturday, don't have to work. I can chill. We start a new evening shift on the job Sunday. So I don't have to go to work till like 4 o'clock in the evening Sunday. It's Saturday, 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm chilling like a villain, watching movies. And then when I start nodding, I said, okay, time up. So I turned everything off, went into my black room, no light, temperature just right, not hot, just slightly cool, slide in between pure Egyptian cotton sheets and ready to get me a real good night's sleep and sleep late tomorrow morning. And it's 4 something in the morning and it's 6 o'clock. I hear it. I said, what? So I wake up and man, listen, those 2 hours I had got in the third gear. Gone. Man, that thing woke me up out of my sleep. I'm like, what the smoke? Am I dreaming? What's going on? Because it was like absolutely nothing on the airways, no chatter, no news, no nothing about nothing taking place with Israel, the Palestine. Everything was quiet. Life as usual. And so when the alarm went off, I really was like, what the smoke is going on? Why is it going off? Yes, that was my thought. And I'm sure that was the thought of everybody that heard it. What is going on? Because there was absolutely nothing that caused us to think that something was going on with Israel and Gaza. But here it is. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, here we talking about, let me just make sure you with me now. I'm reading from a letter of Albert Pike. This guy was born in 1809. And he died in 1891. But he wrote these letters that explain about the First World War, the Second World War, and the Third World War, which is said to be the last one. And what I'm reading to you is how these wars was planned, executed to achieve an objective. I read the first one. It said the First World War to be battled out so as to enable. See, they making something happen to enable the Illuminati to overthrow the powers of the Khazars in Russia. Right? And to turn Russia into a strong fortress of atheist communism. That was the First World War. It had to be brought about to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the powers of the Khazars in Russia. Right? The Second World War, it must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences now between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel and Palestine. You know what? Let's look up this word right quick. And that's fascist, because I remember okay. Someone had asked me, and so since they asked me, I read it. But let me read this right quick. Fascism often capitalized a political philosophy. Fascism is a political philosophy, movement, or regime such as that of the fascists that exalts nation and often race above the individual, and that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader. Severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of opposition. That's fascism. It's a political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts nations and often race above the individual, and that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader. Severe economic and social regimentation and forcible suppression of opposition. Second definition of fascism is a tendency toward or actual exercise of strong autocratic or dictatorial control. Fascists. Okay. All right. Let's get back to the letter. So, okay, we're talking about now the Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the difference caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arab world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. I just mentioned earlier in this dissertation how they was out in the street banging on each other. Okay. Meanwhile, the other nation, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. See that? You see that? You see what I was telling you? Out there fighting each other. Read that again. Meanwhile, the other nation, once more divided on this issue, would be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all this horror would show clearly to the nation the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. This ain't gonna be pretty. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm reading this to you, and if this is the first time you heard it, you ain't never heard it. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm telling you that these things don't happen out of a vacuum. These are plans that's being executed on the people, and we people don't have no idea all this was planned, and we had no idea this is being executed on us. And the only thing we could do is react because we all out just fighting each other, hollering and screaming. We're not organized like they are. They mad organized because they all are in on the same objective. I'm reading from Albert Pike letter describing the Third World War. Meanwhile, the other nation, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. You see that? That's why you're out in the street. If you're pro-Palestine, you're fighting pro-Israelis. If you're pro-Israeli, you're fighting pro-Palestine. And that's why the Ukraine war is all but practically disappeared in the discussion of the news media. Because this is taking over. They're executing a plan. Now let's keep reading further to see, we should unleash the nihilists. What is that? I got to look that up. I want to just be reading, acting like I know everything. I don't even know what that is. Am I pronouncing it correct? Nihilism, Nihilism. It looked like nihilism. Philosophy of negotiation toward concept, meaning, or life. Let's figure this out. What is nihilism? See, you can't just, some of these things you read, you don't want to just read words and you really don't understand the word, because some of those words be the key to the whole thing that you're reading. What is nihilism? Definition and concept of the philosophy. Nihilism is a philosophy that rejects values and the valuation society placed on people, object, and life, and instead states that everything is meaningless. Oof. What? Man, these jokers. Nihilism, definition and concept of the philosophy. Man, this is written by Masterclass, last updated October 20th, 2022, 4-minute read. Nihilism is a philosophy that rejects values and evaluation society placed on people, objects, and life, and instead states that everything is meaningless. What? Nihilism is a continental philosophy, a philosophical idea that originated in Europe in the 19th and 20th centuries that posters that everything is meaningless. While there are multiple positions and variation in nihilism, they all work around these premises of pervasive pointlessness and no purpose of life. The word nihilism comes from the Latin word nihil, which means the absence of anything or nothing. The current version of the term nihilism comes from the German word nihilumus, which date back to the 18th century. Tenets of nihilism. Although there are more than one form of nihilism, all of them discuss the human condition and its existence. Here are a few underlying principles of nihilism. Existence is useless. A nihilist believes there's no purpose for having values or belief because everything in existence is unfounded. There's no truth. Everything is unfounded and useless, including the truth. So there are no reason to uphold moral principle for your own sake or the sake of anyone else. Everything is meaningless. Active nihilism says that since there is nothing and nothing we do matters, all things are therefore meaningless, including the meaning of life. So that's why it's so easy for them to kill people. All right. So now we get back to the letter from Albert Pike and we can read with another level of knowledge and understanding. Meanwhile, the other nations, okay, I'm reading from what Albert Pike wrote about the Third World War is said to be the last. Meanwhile, the other nation, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilist and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror shall show clearly to the nation the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. You know what? Okay, we looked at the word nihilist. So let's look at the word atheist. Should be interesting because do you know what an atheist is? Huh? All right. Let's look up the definition of atheism. Atheism is, in general, excuse me, let's read it correct. Excuse me. Atheism, in general, the critique and denial of metaphysical belief in God or spiritual being. As such, it is usually distinguished from theism, which affirms the reality of the divine and often seeks to demonstrate its existence. Atheism is also distinguished from agnosticism, It's agnosticism, agnosticism, which leaves open the question whether there is a God or not, professing to find the question unanswered or or stop. Y'all know I'm from Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, professing to find the question unanswered or unanswerable. Okay, atheism as rejection of religious belief. A central common core of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam is the affirmation of the reality of one and only one God. Adherents of these faiths believe that there is a God who created the universe out of nothing and who has absolute sovereignty over all of his creation. That includes, of course, human beings who are not only utterly dependent on this creative power, but also sinful, and who or so the faithful must believe. Atheism in general is the critique and denial of metaphysical belief in God or spiritual being. Okay, so we back to the letter. The Third World War, it is said to be the last. I'm reading from paragraph 2. Meanwhile, the other nation, once more divided on the issue, would be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists, which we found out those people believe just don't let it matter. Life ain't worth it. And atheists, those people that don't believe in some metaphysical deity. And we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all this horror will show clearly the nations the effects of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere, the citizen obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries, we exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude delusion with Christianity, who deitist spirits will form that moment. Let me read it correct. I'm sorry. Whose deity spirit will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowledge where to render adoration. We receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in public view. So they want to reveal the devil, in public view. In this Third World War, said to be the last. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. You see what I'm saying? See, it's always a plan that these jokers are executing. Now, this guy, Albert Pike, he wrote that about the First World War, the Second World War, and I'm reading through the Third World War. And what it say, will Christianity, who deitist spirits, will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render adoration, where to put your interests, likes, or whatever, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in public view. Lucifer supposed to have been the one with the devil, right? And talking about brought out in public view. Now, let me share something with you, a thought that I had a while back. I remember just having this thought so long ago. On this planet, you always hear about God, 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 God. Okay. And then you've seen this picture in Christendom, this guy called Jesus, looked like a white dude, long hair, trying to look all pious. And some people got, his hands with holes in them where they tacked him to the cross and all that kind of stuff. What do they say? The crown of thorns. So you done seen that image. A lot of people done seen it. You always see Mary, the baby, and everything when it comes to Christendom, Christianity. You get to see images. You get to see pictures of Jesus and what have you like that. You don't see God. You haven't seen God because you've been told that God's face is too awesome, too glory for you to see because you're a sinner. You can't see the face of God. But you see this image of what they call Jesus. All right. And you got churches, some places you got a church on every corner. And I've seen that. I literally have been in cities where the Catholic, the Muslim, the Christian, and the Church of the Seventh Day Adventist, I believe what it is. They're always on each corner of this intersection. Okay, and they all there, and they all going in their areas and going about their business, and they all had these pictures of what they claim to be their deities and gods and whatnot like that. And all of these people that believe in God also believe in the devil, right? But you never see the devil. Every now and then you'll see some picture, some red cat with horns. That's the devil. That's what they said the devil looked like. But you don't see a church, or you don't see a house or a place or a building or a facility that the devil do his thing in. Like you see God and Jesus, oh, that's cool. You pop a church up, no big deal. Talking about God. But you don't see a place pop up talking about the devil, or the one they call Lucifer, which what's supposed to be the devil. Look that up. See, we trying to be intelligent here. We trying to do the best we can about being intelligent, right? So this Lucifer is that's a movie. You talking about no movie? Get out of here. Let me see. Oh, I think this like that. All right, let's see. Let's do this like this. Right? Lucifer meaning. Let's try that. Okay. Lucifer, a self-igniting match. Or one which could be hit by a strike. That's not it. This looks like more of what we're looking for. Okay, this is Wikipedia. This article is about the mythological and religious figure. For other users, see Lucifer, Okay. Lucifer is the Latin name of the morning appearances of the planet Venus. It corresponds to Greek as the name for the devil in Christian theology. The more common meaning in English, Lucifer, is the rendering of the Hebrew word Halil. Still talking about got a picture of Lucifer, the morning star, represented as a winged child. Lucifer, the fallen angel. Lucifer is the Latin name for morning appearance of the planet Venus. It corresponds to the Greek name Phosphorus, light bringer, whose phosphor, the entity Latin name, was subsequently absorbed by Christianity as the name for the devil. In Christianity, the devil is a personification of evil who rebelled against God in an attempt to become equal to God himself. He is depicted as a fallen angel who was expelled from heaven at the beginning of time before God created a material world, and is in constant opposition to God, the devil. So Lucifer, they say, another name for Satan. God, opposes God. But here in the third paragraph of Albert Pike, the description of the 3 world wars in a letter, we're talking about the Third World War. It's said to be the last. And from paragraph 3, then everywhere the citizen, the people obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionary will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude disillusion with Christianity, who detest spirits, will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, the devil, brought finally out in public. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement which followed the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. This is what is believed to be the letter of Albert Pike, 33rd degree Freemason, and the letter is said to have been in the British Museum Library in London in 1977. Yeah, so anyway, we live in a world where facts and fiction get blurred. Wanted to drop that on you because I want you to be calm, okay? And don't be a reactionary like what this guy Albert Pike just wrote, and be all out there in the street fighting and raising hell and become one of those individuals that is be a statistic. Okay, want to be smarter than that. All right, that's enough for you. You got a lot right there for you to think about. Show Me Right YouTube channel. How you doing? Shalom, shalom. Okay, that was a lot right there. Reading that information to you about what was going on. And I always said, because I love you. Today I was just sharing some thoughts, but I got real deep into the letter from Albert Pike talking about the 3 world wars and how Albert Pike, born in 1809 and died in 1891, he wrote a letter describing the First World War, the Second World War, and the Third World War, which is said to be the last one. And it talks about the First World War, this war to be battled out so to enable the Illuminati to overthrow the powers of the Khazars in Russia. And then they say the Second World War must be formed by taking advantage of the difference between the fascists and the political Zionists. And the Third World War, said to be the last, must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. That's exactly where we at. And so the point was to show that these things that are happening are constructed, they planned, they executed, and we as the people, the citizens of planet Earth, we can only react to them. But when we have individuals that know stuff like what I'm sharing with you, we kind of understand what's going on and why. And that's why we don't really hit the panic button, because we see these plans are being executed on the people. Okay, people ask me, am I going to leave Israel? I'm not interested in that because I got children up here in the military, so that's out of the question. I'm not going to leave them here, and so that's what I got into mostly. But it's been 54 minutes, and I think we'll close out now, and move on. But yeah, just once you could take time and listen to it, and hope the information is helped you to, realize that boom, this ain't just thought of out of a vacuum. These old dudes plan this, and they executing the plan. And just like it says right here, Albert Pike was talking about the Third World War. He said, without knowing to render these people will be so, you know, broken that their objective is to bring out the pure doctrine of Lucifer, the devil, finally out in public view. They want to reveal Satan. So anyway, love you with a perfect love. Always said because of that, and going to close out now. And hope you have a great one. Listen to this, and you can read through it. I read through it online, so that you understand what's going on, and you don't be out here running around just running. Talked with a sister a few days ago, and she had me. It actually wasn't funny, but it was funny the way she told me. Because when one of the alarms went off, she said she was just out in the street running. I'm like, where was you running to? We was trying to find a bomb shelter, and you just out there running. Yes, you see, that's the way they had the majority of the world. When these things, these bandits is planning, jump off, we be reacting because we did not see it coming. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Check it out though. All right. Anyway, had a great time. I'll be back. You know, we still here. We ain't going nowhere. And I said it because I love you always. Have somebody to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Love you with a perfect love. If you you know, you up to it, go ahead and hit my Cash App right there. Uh, and I really would appreciate it because some of these provisions have dwindled down considerably, and need your help right about through here. And so you can shoot the donations to my Cash App, Chantel Johnson, 3 Treasures, and that'll help tremendously. You know, because I hadn't worked since October 5th. And the kitty is basically getting kind of low. Ooh-wee. All right. So love you with a perfect love. Always enjoy talking to you. You know, Nubian King sharing thoughts with you. And I want to see you happy. But it ain't over. We ain't over. We ain't going nowhere. We're going to be here. We just need to, you know, work to understand what we should be doing in order to be here during these times, you know. It's going to be all right. It ain't, you know, the end of the world. We're going to be around. I'm going to play this song as my outro because I like it. But I love you with a perfect love. Shalom, shalom.
And let your Holy Spirit dwell in my heart and in my mind. Please give me strength, 'cause I get a little weak sometimes. I need help from you, Lord, to see me through. Heavenly Father, best knower of all, to you I give the glory. Down on my knees I fall. I ask for wisdom and understanding.